Our next lesson is chapter 1.6a on the mean, median, mode, and range. If you do not have a calculator with you right now, press pause and get a calculator. First of all, before we get going into really the bulk of the lesson, we need to make sure that you understand some terms. What we're really dealing with here, the mean, the median, the mode, and the range, are what we call a measure of central tendency. It's a value that we can use to summarize a set of data. The mean, sometimes referred to as the average, sometimes it's called the average. Maybe when you were younger that's what it was called, but most of the time in junior high and high school we're going to call it the mean. This is the sum of the data values, and we're going to divide by the number of data items. Our next measure of central tendency is the median. Now if you remember, if you've ever been down the highway, like on 151 going to Madison, or on any major interstate, you have a couple of lanes perhaps going south and another couple of lanes going north. Well, in between the lanes going north and the lanes going south, there might be a strip of grass. Sometimes it's just a barrier, like down by Chicago area or something, it's just a barrier. But we refer to it as the median. It's the middle. It's between the two lanes of traffic. Well, in data analysis, it's the middle value. Now you have to be careful because you can only have a middle if you have an odd number of data items. So if the data is an even number, like 6 data items or 8 data items, well then you're going to have to take the mean of the two middle values. And we will do an example like that. You'll also notice that you've got to have everything in numerical order. The third measure of central tendency is the mode, and that is the item that is the greatest frequency. We talk about mode being most often. Mode, most. Median, middle. Then we're also going to learn about the range. The range is the difference between the greatest and the least values in your data or data set. Example 1. We have some test scores, 70, 90, 100, an 80, a 92, and an 84. We are going to rearrange these items and calculate the mean all in one step because you are going to have to show your work. We start with our lowest value, which is 70. I actually cross them off as I go through them so I don't miss anything. Then the 80, 84, the 90, the 92, and then the 100. We are going to divide by the number of data or data items. And in this particular instance, we have 6. This is where you use the calculator to add up your 70 plus 80 plus 84 plus 90 plus 92 plus 100. When you do that, you are going to get 516, and we are still going to divide by 6. When we do that, we are going to get 86. Turns out to be a whole number this time. Otherwise, you're going to have to round off to probably the nearest tenth. Now you'll notice that this time we do not have an odd number of data items. We have an even number of data or data items. We are going to take the middle two values. I count in 1, 2, 3, and then from the other side I count in another 1, 2, 3. Both of these are my middle values. Because it's an even number of items, 6, I need to find the mean of those two numbers. So I'm going to take 84 plus 90. And since I've only got 2 items here, I'm going to divide by 2. If you have to use your calculator, okay, but 84 plus 90 is 174. We're going to divide by 2. And our median is going to be 87. We are also going to find our range. The range, because we have to show that work too. The range is the difference between the largest item, greatest item, and the least value item. Here's our largest item. Here's our least value. So we're going to take 100 minus 70, and our range is going to be 30. When we fill in the answers along the bottom, we've calculated our mean at 86. We've calculated the median to be 87. Now here's where we're going to find the mode. We usually don't have to show any work for the mode. In this particular set, no item is used more than once. Now we do not write a 0, because 0 isn't part of the items, isn't part of the set. So we write the word none, N-O-N-E. 0 is not a part of the data set, so we cannot put a 0 down there. And we calculated our range at 30. Example 2. I would strongly suggest that you press pause, work through the problem, and then I'll show you how it's worked. Again, we're going to want to use numerical order. -9 plus -3 plus -1 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 plus 14 plus 16. And if we count the items, we have 9. Now in the calculator, you will come up with 47 divided by 9. When you divide that, you are going to come up with 5.2222222. So when we round off, we're going to use the nearest tenth and get 5.2 as our mean. The median. Well, we're pretty fortunate today on this problem, I should say, because we actually have an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this time we don't have to show any work, and we can just put down our median as being 7. The range is going to be our greatest item of 16 minus our least value item of -9. Greatest minus least. Aha! We're back to subtracting integers. Add the opposite. We're going to get a range of 25. Our mean is 5.2. Our median is 7. Now, in this particular set, the 7 is used twice, and so is the 8. So we have 2 modes, the 7 and the 8. Our range is 25. And that concludes the lesson on mean, median, mode, and range.